The moment his voice turned from persuasion to mockery, something in me went still. "You're a surgeon, not a soldier," he said, half laughing. "You can reschedule. It's just an appendix, not open heart surgery. Don't make it a big deal." He didn't even look up from his laptop when he said it, just adjusted his cufflinks like the conversation bored him. I remember watching the reflection of his fingers in the glass table. Cold, deliberate, detached. That's when I decided he wasn't going to get away with it. Before all that, I thought he was the most brilliant man I'd ever met, the kind who could command a room with a whisper. He was a rising director, obsessed with control, perfection, applause. And I, God help me, was in love with his ambition. We met at a hospital charity gala he was filming for a client. I'd just come out of surgery, literal surgery, and he said he'd never seen anyone so calm after cutting someone open. I laughed. He said I had the kind of hands that save or destroy. I should have listened closer to that last part. We built a life out of long nights and shared victories. He climbed through the film industry. I carved my name into the surgical board. We didn't have time for children, but we had power, precision, and a marriage that looked perfect in photographs. Then the cracks started showing. He began staying later at the studio. I'd find lipstick on his coffee cup, notes from assistants signed with hearts. He'd deflect with charm, then irritation. "You're imagining things, Mia. You always read too much into everything." He said it so often, I almost started to believe him. Almost. The truth came a month later, in the form of an email. Not to me, of course, to her. He'd accidentally copied me on a chain meant for his production intern, Lila. She was 23, naive, eager. He promised her a breakthrough role if she played her part off-screen, too. I read it twice, 3 times. My hands didn't shake, my heart didn't break. It just stopped caring. That's when I started taking notes. The first thing I learned in surgery, hesitation kills. So I didn't hesitate. I quietly collected everything: texts, emails, financial records. I found studio transfers he'd made to a private account under his assistant's name. I even found out he'd used my savings to fund his latest passion project. So I built a plan that would bleed him slowly, financially, professionally, emotionally. I didn't scream or threaten. I smiled, cooked dinner, let him believe I was too fragile to fight. He called it my quiet phase. He didn't realize quiet is what comes before precision. The pitch was his lifeline, a massive deal with an investor group that would put his studio on the map. He'd spent 6 months preparing, grooming his image, practicing his lines. 2 days before the pitch, I got a call from the hospital. Emergency surgery, internal bleeding, time-sensitive, critical. I told him I'd go. He laughed. "You can't cancel this pitch. Do it tomorrow. It's one patient, Mia. Don't be dramatic." That word, dramatic. He'd used it every time I tried to speak up, every time I caught him lying. So I smiled, said, "Okay." Then I made my call. The investor group he was pitching to, one of them was a former patient of mine, Mr. Lang, a retired CEO with a long memory and a deep respect for honesty. I told him, carefully, that my husband's company was under financial review for creative fraud. I didn't need to lie. I just presented the facts, the stolen funds, the falsified budgets. Then I called the studio board and submitted all the documentation anonymously. Finally, I scheduled my surgery as planned. The day of the pitch, I was in the OR, steady hands saving someone's life. My husband was across the city, sweating under fluorescent lights, pitching his soul to a room full of silent men. Halfway through his presentation, the investor's phone started buzzing. Mr. Lang stood, thanked him politely, and walked out. One by one, the others followed. He called me 12 times that afternoon. By the 10th, I muted him. By the 12th, I answered. Mia, please, whatever you did, stop. They're saying things. They're pulling out. Sounds dramatic, I said. You always hated that. He didn't speak, just breathed. Shaky, broken. For once, I let the silence hang. By evening, the studio suspended him. Within a week, Lila's statement hit the trades. Sexual coercion, financial misconduct, breach of ethics. His reputation burned overnight. The investors sued. The board cut him loose. I didn't leak anything. I didn't have to. Truth has its own timing. He moved out 2 days later, left behind his suits, his ego, and a note that said, "You win." But it was never about winning. It was about equilibrium. People ask how I could do it, how I could destroy someone I once loved. I tell them I didn't destroy him. I just stopped saving him. You can only stitch the same wound so many times before you realize